So what I have here is a box of bullets. Ha ha ha. Just to show you what the contents is, this is what comes in the box. And what we have to do, take a bullet, put it in the hole here. As you can see that each one has a rubber seal around the top edge. So you don't want to over tighten these because you don't want to crush that rubber seal. And we got 13 of these to put in on each side. Once you get those in there, we prefer to have the adjustment down towards the bottom, so we just tighten them snug until that notch goes towards the bottom. And then what happens is you crimp your cable along with the ring that goes on prior to the crimp. You stick that all into here, and you follow it up with a set screw, which gives you your adjustment to tighten the cable. So we did get the second railing up here. That's pretty good. There was a lot of problems that I had to deal with because of the cheap hardware that they include with the package. One of my taps broke inside the hole. A couple of the screws, the heads broke right off of them. It's just cheap Chinese junk that they use for hardware or something. I don't know what it is, but so I had to spend time extracting broken screws that were still in the hole and had to come out. And the tap, that's another issue. As once those break off in the hole, you're pretty much stuck with what you got. Because I don't want to tear the railing apart by trying to get something out like that. So I don't know. Overall, it looks good when it's done, but there's a lot of little annoyances that go along with it. You know, they show you how great it comes together online, but when it comes down to really doing it, it turns into a nightmare at times. Like, for instance, when you put a joint in, because these railings are only 93 inches. I don't know why they didn't just go to a full 8 feet, but for some reason they like 93 inches. So every time you get one of those, you got to put a spline to lengthen your rail. And the splines, they just work like crap. They have like one set screw on each side of the spline, and they expect that joint to hold steady. When your joint still does this, because there's only one set screw in it, if that spline doesn't pressure fit itself and is a little bit loose, then you're going to have slop in that rail. So on this instance, where they only required one set screw on each side of the seam, I ended up putting two to try to stabilize that spline in between. You're not going to stabilize it with one screw that works as an axle instead of having two that will stop it from rotating. I mean, that's common sense, but for some reason, that's how they think it's right to do it. The other thing, I think I would have used like a panhead screw under there so you can actually get it to tighten up against the rail. I mean, a set screw does not put any force against the rail when you're putting the spline in there. I understand the logic of not wanting anything protruding on the bottom, but I just think they could have done a better job on how to get those splines to tighten up and stay put. But I guess once you get it all close and it's mounted like this, then it probably just holds that spline from rotating because now you've got it in a fixed position. So I don't know. I know my wife is not too happy with the product because of some of the problems we've run into. And right now she's not been around, so if she would have saw this stuff happen, she would have went totally off the edge. So let me carry on here, and I'll see you in a little while. All right, folks, I'm on number 26. I haven't dropped one yet. Let's see if we can get in the last one without dropping it. Success. We got her in there. So I'm just snugging them with my fingers as tight as I can. And then I'll probably just turn it that little bit that's necessary to get the open slat towards the bottom on each one of them. Some of them you'll only have to turn a little bit. Some of them you'll have to turn 3/4 of a turn or more. So you do your best not to smash that rubber seal underneath them. So you may be wondering how to tighten these up without marring the finish. Well, they give you this nice little tool. The end of it fits into a 7/16 socket. And then the end of the tool fits right into the slot where the hex nut will go eventually. And you do your tightening with the socket from that point forward. Pretty cool idea. It's just like a keyhole type of thing. So that's another day at the Barndominium. We're making slow progress on that cable railing. And I'm hoping to come up with ideas on how to cut the cable. My little helper is not around right now. So I have an idea that maybe I could clamp it on one end and then measure and cut at the other end. I have a DeWalt cutoff tool, and I was wondering if I could use that to cut the cable for a cleaner cut. I might try it on just a small piece and see how it works, because the cable cutter that came with the product from Cable Bullet, it seems to wear down pretty quick, and then you have trouble with the cable squashing and unwinding instead of cutting clean through. And then it's hard to get your sleeve for crimping on it if it's all unraveled like that. So if I can get a cleaner cut with the cutoff tool, that would be great. So stay tuned for the next update on the cable system, and we'll see if my ideas will work. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Bye.